So can you hear me okay? Can you guys still hear me?
Mhm.
Sketch Zone Podcast is on the air. I am Carlos Gomez, and this week we have Aussie born, bred, and working.
Yeah.
Still there. He's still there. Anthony Christou. Welcome, Anthony. And I am not going to insult you by having you be the third Australian and saying good day, mate, for the third time. I'm
Too
not
late.
gonna do that.
It's too late. You've done it now, mate.
He said, mate.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me on board. You guys can hear me, see me okay from down under?
No worries. You already
Yeah?
did the theme song. Don't worry. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I don't know, man. You know, with the down under stuff, you know, the cables may not work because they're upside down and stuck to the internet.
Do your toilets flush the other way?
Yeah, they go around the other way or something. I don't know.
I was about to ask you the question.
I don't check. I don't dare to look at the toilet after I finish, so it's all good.
Wow, where's it going?
Going on to the toilet humor already, or?
You asked for it.
Those deep, sultry sounds coming from over there. That's
Hello, everyone. I'm here, and I just want to say, I feel like Beyonce a little bit,
No.
or maybe Jay-Z, or maybe DJ Khaled, because he's Beyonce's DJ. You know why? You want to know why? Because I feel like we're on like an Aussie World Tour 2016. Because like for the last month, I've talked to Australians, and you've lined it up this way.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna ask you, are you you feel like Beyonce because Jay-Z cheated on you?
Ooh.
it's all narrative. Stop. See? Okay, TMZ. Let her be an artist. But that's what I feel like. I'm like, yo. So what's next month, Carlos? Are we going to talk to all European, London bred?
I'm trying to break into that. That market, if we can find one.
We culture you here at Sketch Zone, so I'm happy to be here.
And that guy right there, that's Jack Kasperzak.
That was not me. My hands were off the soundboard. Someone's trying to take over.
I just thought you were going to do the other one from last week.
Trying to cut me off?
Yeah, I want you to feel. They have to feel like, you're nice and approachable. So the doorbell's great for you. I see it. It's perfect for you.
Ever since we had that one episode where we talked about the kids with the black eyes, that doorbell is not anywhere near being.
Oh.
That show made that doorbell creepy as hell to me.
Yo, speaking of that creepiness, Snapchat. Have you tried the face stuff on Snapchat yet?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of black eyes ones. Freaks me out.
Exactly. My point exactly. And that's why every time you play that goofy sound effect, that's Hi, Jack.
Hi.
Hey, Jack.
You already met him.
Jack is my dad's name.
So Anthony wants to take Jack to Maury Povich.
He is your father.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Not like that, man. Not like that. No.
Your father.
So, Charlie, you were talking about a new toy that you bought.
So I work at a creative agency that does everything from AR to VR and a bunch of visual effects and motion graphic stuff. And
Awesome.
this week, we procured a new motion capture software. It's a whole system, and it's really awesome. Here, talk amongst yourselves. Be right back.
Remember that one time Charlie started telling a story, and then he left in the middle of the story, and then we completely changed the subject so we couldn't talk about that anymore?
Ha! Here it is. So it's called Perception Neuron. It was a Kickstarter project that Carlos did not fund, but he probably should have.
You didn't tell me.
And so, looks like this. Really awesome. So it's a full sensor-based motion capture system. You put sensors on your straps on your arms, legs, head, and there are these little microchips that are really expensive. Here, right, they have like accelerometers in them and a bunch of other cool stuff. It's still wrapped up in packaging. You have to package this open this package tomorrow and stuff like that. But you have little baggies that come with it that say what section it is. So you got the upper body, you have the lower, right? And they're like a totally mobile system. They can be connected by Wi-Fi, USB, or an SD card on a hub that you wear also. And if you look at online, let's say like YouTube, go to like YouTube. You can go to. We'll put the link of the actual site and stuff like that in the notes. But they look like this, right? And there's where the little chip goes. You put them in. I got 32. There's 32 sensors. You only need about 17 to track the whole body. But there are also here's the kicker with this thing. Since we do VR and stuff like that, there's full hands that come with this too. You wear gloves, and there's sensors all on your hands, so it's fully tracked, fully featured. All the fingers, not none of this like where you don't have where you have to go back and reanimate the hands. It's all, and then they have a software that they work with it, and then I can then clean up the motion capture on top of that using, let's say, Autodesk Motion Builder, or I can use Max or Maya, whatever I want to use to clean up the motion capture, because you always still got to clean up motion capture. It's never perfect, but this is really cool. Now I can give this over to my programmers at work also, and they can integrate it live into Unity and as well as Unreal. So I can do live capture in Unreal, or I can do that whole one-to-one thing where, say, we use HTC Vive right now as our two big projects we're working on right now. So I can have the suit on, or I can just have the hands on, right? So then when I put the Vive on, right, my hands will show up in the VR space, fully, all my fingers working, pick stuff up. They have different videos where they have basically recreated like a scene one-to-one. So then when you put your headset on, you can walk over, pick things up, play catch with somebody else that has the Vive. It's really cool stuff they can do, not only just the motion capture stuff, So it's really cool. I haven't really even opened up the whole thing. Here's the gloves. You have like small, medium, large gloves and stuff, and then you put the sensors and stuff on top of the gloves. So just got it in. The company's out of Hong Kong.
Nice.
So I was like sweating bullets because it took some convincing, but my amazing boss is awesome, and he finally came around to the idea once I showed him footage and gave him all the good information. It was really nice. It's just like cool what they're doing. Now, motion capture now is like old school, right, in terms of what's out there. And shout out to all the great systems that we've had, like the Viacom system with their program Blade and all that good stuff, where you probably have seen in like making ofs and whatnot of like the light-based system where it's catching the little white tracker balls, which still gets used a lot. But there's a new thing where it's more inertia-based with these really like cool microchips that it's giving like a lot of smaller VFX houses and larger studios at the same really good leverage into doing stuff like this, and it's totally portable. So like this is what it came in. It's not like it's this big thing, and then since it's Wi-Fi based, once I put it on,
and if
I'm
you're
good to go.
or if you're listening on iTunes, he's holding up a little box with a handle. It's probably just a little bigger than those old school tin launch boxes that you.
That's about the size of it, so
How much?
system.
How much did you get to kick in for that?
So all together, this is the big thing. And then if you go to Kickstarter and look up Perception Neuron, you can still go watch the original Kickstarter video. Their whole thing was they made this system, and they thought they had something that was innovative and like better than most motion capture systems out right now, but they wanted to make it affordable also. So we got at my studio the biggest package, which was the 32 neuron set, which runs you about 1,500, and that's considerably cheaper than most systems just like this on the market right now. I mean, there's other systems that I won't mention their names. You have to contact those systems because usually you have to contact them because they don't have their prices on the websites. But there's other systems that are well over 12 grand. 20 grand, 30 grand for some of them. A lot of them have like software that's on the scale of like, Motion Builder or like Motion Builder. So maybe their software is like, $500 for a yearly subscription, which is ongoing. Or I've seen one that was like $800 for subscription based, and that's just the software to run the system, which the system being can go upwards of like 20 grand at that point for that type of system. So they have different like pricing points for like I've looked at like I want to say 8 or 9 other ones and kind of settled on this one after really like vetting through the like videos and contacting some of the other studios that have used it already. This system's only been out about a year, I think, year or so. Don't hold me to that, maybe 2, but it's probably about a year or so. So it's very new after they got funded off of Kickstarter, and they've been doing good. I thought I wasn't going to get here for another 5 or 6 days, and I wouldn't be able to use it for this project I'm currently on, but it got here. I ordered this late Monday afternoon. It is now Thursday evening, and it got here around 5 o'clock on Thursday, which they tell you on the site take 2 days to process, and then they ship it 5 to 7 days afterwards. But they do a really good job with customer service, and they got it to us pretty fast. And we had to go through customs and all that good stuff too. So keep that in mind in terms of if you do buy it, that you might have to pay another fee once it gets to either FedEx or DHL. You might have to pay what's called a duty fee or whatever. And that was only about $100, so it's not bad. They tell you that on the site too.
That's cool. It's pretty neat to see because I bet you their approach might be a lot like the accelerometers that are on your phone now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the chip has an accelerometer in it and 2 other things too. Yeah, so you're right, exactly right, Carlos.
Yeah. So now, I mean, what, Charlie? You're a bit of a golfer too, but they have these things now that you can put on your wrist or your golf club, and it'll actually measure your golf swing.
Yeah, we used to do it at Topgolf. Yeah.
Yeah, and you compare it to your other swings and when you're working on consistency. So it's really all this stuff is getting super compact, affordable, which is the big thing.
In the videos, and one of the videos on the website, which I think is neuronmocap.com. I'll check that out, make sure that's what it's called. But they had a golfing pro on there, so they're cross-pollinating on a lot of different industries right now. And my work does a good job of trying to keep up on the latest trends of like what is cost effective for our studio. Working with big name clients, it needs to be pretty good. So, but not break the bank.
Can you talk about the project? I don't know if you guys can hear me, but can you talk about the project that you guys are working on that you're using mocap for?
Maybe not. Maybe not. What I'll do is I'll check. I'll check and tune in next week's show, and I'll have an answer for you if I can release the 2 brands that we're working for right now.
Awesome. Cool.
When do you get results back on the quality of the data?
I work from home tomorrow, so I'm going to fully unbox all this stuff tomorrow, and I'm going to set it up, and I'm going to do it here for myself. So I'll know pretty quickly. But from what I've seen so far, and we've, like I was saying, I've been vetting this for like the last 3 weeks or so. And from what I've seen, it's pretty, straight on, Jack. It's pretty good. You know, I was like pushing a higher price tag product until I got to this one and started looking at them, and I was like, that's pretty good because they do a good job of having a lot of videos online where they set it up right there. They'd be like, all right, here's the box. I'm gonna open it, take it all out. You know how they do those unboxing videos and stuff like that. And then I'm gonna set it up, and they throw a timer in the corner of the screen. And it's like a 4-step calibration process. You go from like laying it out, to having like a still mode, to T pose, to A pose, to a sitting pose, and then boom, it's already tracking you, and it's tracking you live. So once I have the program up, it's already picking up the sensors, and it's just a matter of me, posing in my T pose and then hitting record, and it it exports out the BVH, FBX, and most major file formats. So I can do it either that way to get it into whatever other program you're using for your pipeline, Houdini or Motion Builder, Maya Max or whatever, or you can go straight to Unreal or Unity if you're doing the whole game thing. But
now,
yeah.
just a quick question, man. If I missed out on the Kickstarter and I still want to get it, like for my studio or something like that, 'cause
Right.
we do game development. Like, you got a website if people still want to buy that product?
Yes, you can still buy the product now. The website is, they need to pay me for this. The website is neuronmocap.com. Go to the website, and the pricing's on there. So they have a great model where you don't have to really talk to their support or whatever. They put everything that you need on the site right then and there, and then just click on the 3 hash lines on the right side and go to the store, and it'll show you. The 32 neuron set, which is 32 microchips, is $14.99. The 18 is $9.99, so $1,000. And then they also have academic versions for the 32 is $1,100, and then you get an 18 set for $800. So
cool.
Is this the reason why you would want 32 over 18? Does it capture 2 people at once?
No, it captures 1 person at a time. So the 18 set, if you look on the site, there's different configurations you can do. So the cool thing about having the straps, you can put it however you want, Carlos. So if you're really only trying to do your upper body and all the nuanced movements in here, you can put a strap here on your neck if you really wanted to, head, and then do it that way. But they say to track a full body, you only need 18, right? So that's the standard. So I would put the 18 on, and I think the 32 expands to when you do all your fingers. So that's what it probably is. It's the actual hands. So the 32 set comes with the actual hand set, and that's the main thing about it there, where that's where those extra ones are coming, which is these ones right here. Picture in picture. So that's the main thing about that. Without the hands or whatever, it's just 18. So that means it's all the body parts without your hands, and it's the wrist and the head. And they also have straps for your feet. You put one over your feet also. And you can wear whatever. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. You don't have to wear like a nylon suit or anything like that either. Just whatever you're wearing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I can't wait to see what you do with it.
Yeah. I just want a good base. A really good base to then go over top of. And we were doing the whole Connect thing, trying every other little thing, and the Connect is not as good as people would like it to be. It's great if you have a Connect, you can try it. Go ahead and just try it. We even had it where we had 2 Connects connected together, doing it. And it's
still not.
Just go try it. That's all I'm gonna say with a smile. Try it. It'll change your life.
Charlie will smile, by the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of evil smile, just kidding. Hey,
Hey, what's up? You got a question?
no,
Ooh.
actually, thanks for coming on. It's been fun.
Is that all? Is that over? Is that it?
You did a great job.
Yeah.
See ya. I'm just drawing this here, so you probably can't even see this as pencil. Can you see that on the camera?
It's not that.
Dragon?
It's a little yellow.
Yeah. I just penciled that now. I'm gonna ink it while I talk to you guys. But I can talk and stuff while I'm drawing. So don't feel free to ask me any questions or whatever. So yeah.
Cool. So what is it? What is it that you're drawing?
I'm drawing a dragon for one of my Kickstarter fans because we had a tier where I would draw an A4 commission for every fan that paid a certain amount of money, and yeah, we've finished mailing all the books out because we had a really successful Kickstarter, and at the moment just getting the last 10 drawings out. We've done about 25 drawings, so I'm doing the last 10 of the 25. And yeah, so I'm finishing them up now, and I'll be sending them over the convention season over June. So yeah, but, I'll show you the dragon as it finishes over the talk. So yeah.
What was it that you did for a Kickstarter?
Ah, okay. So the comic book that I created is called Luminous Ages, and we actually created a Kickstarter for the first issue. And I also created an art book. I'll show you here. I'm going to send you guys a copy. Hopefully get it next week. But we've got the comic here, Luminous Ages, and the art book, The Art of Luminous Ages, which is a 40-page book filled with illustrations of characters and monsters and dragons and all that sort of cool stuff. I don't know if you can see that. But I'll screen share some of the work in a minute, later on, maybe. And yeah, we're only asking for $1,000 to cover the cost of printing the first issue of the comic. And so, there you go. You're on Luminous Ages. So we only wanted $1,000, but we ended up being 400% funded, I think. So we ended up with about $4,500, which is amazing. I'm really grateful that the fans came on board. It was a crazy amount of people. We had about 10 customers were from the US. We had the second biggest country was Denmark for some reason. The Danish like me, so. And then there was Russia. We had some of the work going out to the Russian Federation and France, and a majority of the audience was Australia and New Zealand with our Kickstarter. But yeah, I'm actually doing another one in November, but it's for our trading card game. So it's a narrative trading card game, and it's got dragons and all that sort of stuff. It's a bit more complicated, the story, but I mean I don't want to get too much into it unless you want me to. And the whole idea is it's a different type of trading card game, so it's not just about spending heaps of money. You can buy as much as you want, and you can still play with your friends. It's almost a tabletop card game as well as a trading card game. You can make it competitive, where someone buys a deck and you compete against each other, or you can also make it that you have a 100-card deck and you have to fight the dragons. There's a multiplayer mode where you have to defend yourself against the dragons, the evil dragons, and you've got to protect the good dragons, the good guys, from dying. And yeah, so I don't know. Any questions, or does that answer your question? Or
Yeah, I'll start talking so that way you can catch your breath. So whose idea was this comic book?
It's all me.
Did you
I'm the writer and the creator of it. I do all the artwork. I do have a mentor in the US, actually, a guy called Rob Richardson, and he basically oversees the project and just says, hey, don't do that, do this, or gives me some ideas and kind of almost like my visual editor. And he does occasionally, he's expressed interest in working on the comic in the future, and he also does help with coloring comics sometimes. But he's a great friend, and he actually started out being my mentor about 6 years ago when I first got into art, doing it full time, and now I'm kind of hiring him, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of giving him opportunities and getting his advice on my projects. But it's all me. I have two people that work for me in Australia. I've got Rob in America, so there's about 4 of us in the team with my studio developing our own comics and our own artwork. And so I've got another staff member here, Christou, who helps with. She's a junior illustrator. She helps with marketing and all the admin side of things. Got Jason, who helps with the graphic design and all that sort of stuff. But it's basically me, and I have some helpers that, when I'm really busy, they assist with stuff. So, but yeah, this is my baby, so to speak. So.
Well, before I forget, congratulations on the successful Kickstarter. Those are generally a lot of hard work. So it's good to see that folks like you, like especially the creatives that are trying to get one of their dreams off the ground, that it actually does come through. So good for you. Congratulations for getting that done. And
thanks, man.
I was actually excited when you reached out, and I started looking at your work, and I was very impressed. It was really cool.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the comments.
Yeah, it was really neat. And then to hear that you did a Kickstarter and there's thousands of people that agree with me, it's good on you.
Thank you.
So what's your elevator pitch when it comes to your story?
Okay, it's a universe that is basically on another planet, and it's about a world that has 13 gods that have the power to control dream magic, dream energy, and they create their own creatures in their own image, and these creatures, dragons, beast kind, demons, angels, all have the power to control dream magic and do amazing things with dream energy. The 3 major schools, which come from the humankind and the angel kind, are the luminary, the captivary, and the chosen, and they all have the power to control dreams in a different way. So there is the dream zone, where a lot of the dragon gods kind of sit, and what happens is characters like Thrakos and Lena can jump in and out of the dream zone, and they summon things to life, monsters, dragons, and the whole idea is, if you want to give an analogy, it would be Game of Thrones meets James Cameron's Avatar. But the major issue that we're looking at, the 2 major ethical issues we're talking about in this story, is multiculturalism and environmentalism. It's got those 2 messages throughout the comic. Their planet is dying. There are these evil nightmare mages. They're controlled by the dark demon dragon and his allies, and they are draining their planet of all the dream energy, and they're hoarding it all for themselves, and they're killing off endangered dragons. They're killing off any kind of creature that has some dream energy in them. They're sucking it out for themselves. They're polluting the dream wells. They're these beautiful lakes where mages go and bathe in, and they are restored in their energy, their dream magic. And what ends up happening is there's basically a dream team is put together, and they're trying to fight off these nightmare mages. Also, the reason why we got the name Luminous Ages is what happens is, in the First Great War, which is before this story, they had a great war where good actually won. But what happened was there were some evil dragons that escaped the dream world, Equatoria, and they ended up in Earth. They actually teleported to Earth realm. And so what happens is we're actually going to be talking about, we're going to have side stories that tie in Earth mythology with our universe. So there's an evil dragon called Zerolius, and Zerolius enters the Mediterranean. He enters around the area of Lebanon and Cyprus and Greece, all those sort of countries. And what happens is Jason and the Argonauts have to take him down. So they meet Cadmus, who's actually a Phoenician prince, a Lebanese prince, and they meet Cadmus, Cadmus originated from our world. He comes from the dream world, and he chased this dragon into Earthrealm because he was trying to find the dragon, hunt him down, and he used Earth's warriors, Jason and the Argonauts, to take down this dragon. I don't want to tell you what happens in the end because it's got a really, really cool twist. But there's all these offshoots where the reason why it's called Luminous Ages is because there is this big universe, this dream universe, but there are many ages that the dragons escape out of the dream realm and they escape into Earth and even other planets. So it has this huge potential to become this almost like a Marvel franchise in a way, a Marvel universe, but it's fantasy. So I don't know if it's not a 3-minute elevator pitch. so yeah, that's not a 3-minute elevator pitch, but
Anthony just hit Anthony just hit the stop button on the elevator and was like, "Yo, I just gotta tell you about this real quick. Just have a seat."
Anthony's talking to us like we got money.
It's like, yo, I don't know what happened. We must be in a power outage. Well, oh well, I have this story I need to tell you about. That's awesome though.
Yeah.
So how is it broken up? Go ahead, Anthony.
Sorry, what was the question?
I was gonna say, how is it broken up? Is it broken up into trade paperbacks or individual is it like episodic in terms of like it's just like the traditional comic, 15, 20 pages type deal?
24-page comics. The next issue will be a bit bigger, will be 30-page. It's about a 24-page comic. Every issue comes out, and we're doing 2 issues this year. The second issue comes out in November with our card game. So we're doing a narrative card game with a comic in November for Kickstarter. But we're trying to aim for 3 issues a year. So next year, if it grows, if people like yourself help to get it out there, that's why I'm getting out there. If it grows over the conventions this year, we hope to do 3 episodes. And so there's basically the main story arc of Luminous Ages. So there'll be 2 episodes of Luminous Ages, and then there'll be 1 offshoot episode. So we're hoping to do the story about Silver the Grey, which is Thrakos' mother, and it's a story about her and the Phoenician prince Cadmus, who have to take down the evil dragon Zerolius, the bone dragon. So that's Silver the Grey. You probably saw the page before, and so she went missing in the last Great War, but I don't want to give away too much what happened. But we're going to do an offshoot story. Can you see that all right or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah, it's actually your lighting's actually good. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, there we go. Nice.
Yeah. So but yeah, paperback, and eventually, as it grows, we'll probably do graphic novels as well. But it's a one-man show with a small team, so like it's a lot of work, as you would probably imagine. So,
yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, talk about that team though, Anthony. So how's that team set up? Because the comic book itself seems like it's very has this nice traditional watercolor type style to it. Are you writing and then you have a colorist and then someone doing lines for you, or talk about how your team is set up, and is it local or is it international?
Yeah, it's all me. I do all the penciling, all the coloring, all the artwork. But then I have my assistants, whether it's Christy or Rob or Jason, they may help with a bit of coloring, and also they do the lettering. But I basically do everything pretty much. I was actually trained by Rob Richardson to do a lot of comic books. He was one of the artists that did Dragon Cross years ago. I don't know if you've ever heard of an indie comic in America called Dragon Cross.
Yeah, I have.
So so it's all. I do traditional art, so I draw everything by hand, as you can see. But I also do a lot of digital painting with the comic as well. So we scan in those pictures and we touch them up digitally in Photoshop, and we paint I paint every single panel pretty much. But usually, like right now, I'm going away in June. Someone will be helping either here in Adelaide doing some colours for me while I'm away on the next page. But yeah, I think the main. I try to give my work freelance to Christy and Jason, and then to Rob. So I just break up the work in terms of what needs to be done for each individual artist or designer. So Jason's really good at graphic design, so he helps typeset the comic, and he helps to do the page layout, so I can just get back to painting. But look, it's going to probably change in the next year. I can see Rob coming on possibly on a full-time basis and doing a lot more as well. Because if we've got 2 stories coming out with this universe, then we're going to need someone else full-time on it. So it all depends on, funding and all that sort of stuff, and the demand for the comic, of course, Yeah. So
let's go back to before the comic. How did you get into the creative dare I say, creative realm?
Yeah.
Ready?
Well, I've
Go.
always been. Yeah, I've always been drawing and painting from a child, and I've always loved like uh, things like the Never-Ending Story and Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and I was always drawing as a kid, and my parents were like, "Oh, you need to get a stable job, you know, maybe try graphic design," because in Australia there was not many options about 20 years ago,
Oh,
and so
really?
I kind of yeah, there was mainly like there were some game studios, but they weren't really big,
Hmm.
and what happened was I went and became a graphic designer. Uh, I did still do fine art. I studied fine art and I learned painting, traditional painting. And I did graphic design for about 8 years, and I ended up getting a position at my university teaching graphic design. And I bumped into an old colleague, a guy called Simon Scales, who's got a school here who runs a lot of stuff with the Concept Design Academy in California. Do you know that? Do you know Concept Design Academy in California? You heard of that
Yes,
one?
I've heard of it. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
So Simon studied there, and then he set up a school in Adelaide. And in 2008, he goes, "Hey man, you know," he knew that I was really into my art, and he said, "Look, there's this field called concept art and illustration, and it's growing. The game industry is growing. You should seriously consider it. I know you're a graphic designer, but something that you'd probably be interested in." And I saw what it was all about, and I just said, "Okay, yeah, that's it." I just kind of my focus was that even though I was still teaching graphic design, I was painting every day, and I went and I studied from the Gnomon Workshop. I was entering in Gnomon Workshop contests. I
Yeah,
didn't
there it
win
is.
for about. Do you know the Gnomon Workshop?
Yes, no works is awesome. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've actually it took me a while, but I ended up winning 4 of their 2D art contests. So I got first place, I got second place, I got third place and fourth place, but it wasn't in that order. It was fourth, third, second, and first finally.
Which
And
contests were those, and how long ago were
they
those?
were that was in probably would have been in 2013. So I did. There was a topic called the Castle Highlands. I got first place on that. The topic before that would have been Halloween. I got second place on that. And there was Abandoned Asylum, and I got third place on that. And then fourth place, I actually did a painting on Kowloon in China, so I got fourth place on that. And I think that kind of pushed me to get into the industry and I started getting work from that in around about 2011. So it took me 3 years of training.
Hmm.
So 2008, 9, 10, and by about 2011 I started getting work. And I thought, and then basically I was made redundant from the university because they didn't have any more positions or they didn't have enough work. And my life kind of, I think it was like the universe telling me, hey, it's time to go and do your own thing and do what you really love. And the first year was really hard. You know, it was a very tough kind of entry, but then after that, it got really good. It got easier. It's just been growing from there and then. So I'd probably say the last 4 years have been brilliant. You know, for me
Okay.
since about 2013 to 2012. So and yeah, just loving it. Going to conventions. I work for several clients around the world, and it's it's growing. It has its challenges, like any creative industry. Like it does have its challenges, but the challenges are worth it. You know.
Yeah.
So
Challenges for some people that are looking to get into concept art.
that's it.
Yeah, I think it's so important. Like, we keep hearing this, this type of thing comes up, and like, Jack and Carlos will tell you, I can tell you, and a lot of other people could tell you that went to school earlier of the 2000s when we were in college, where like those contests were few and far between. But if you're
Yeah.
a student listening to the show, or someone trying to break into the industry, we're talking to another colleague of ours, and what he says really reverberates, and it is this: it's like, if you're good, you'll always be able to find work, and if you're hardworking, it'll always pay off. So like,
Yeah.
if you can get into any of these like contests, you go to any of these websites, websites like Polycount, conceptart.org, check out all the stuff that the Noman's doing. Head over to CG Society, check out what they're doing. They always are hosting ArtStation also for gallery stuff, because now they're even doing contests. They're always hosting contests, and Anthony even said When he started, he got fourth, and he got third, and he got second, and then eventually got first. Over a 3-year period, and that's like kind of like no-brainers now, right? People always have problems with knowing what to start with or what kind of project to do at home, or while they're not doing stuff for class, or and like a contest is easy. They have it all laid out. They tell you what you need to do. All you gotta do is like post and do it, like, and get better. I really think more people should take advantage of that, and that kind of helped kickstart your career, right, Anthony?
It does, man. Like going back in 2011, so it would have been 2010. I really got into the Gnomon contest, and I was failing. I didn't win one contest, and I was like, I didn't want to give up, but it gave me fire to keep on going. And by about 2011, I won an award. By the end of 2010, I won an award finally. I got a fourth place for the Kowloon painting, and it kind of gave me confidence as well as an artist. But not just that. It made me realize, okay, it's not that I was crap. I just got to keep on getting better, and I got to keep on pushing, and that still stayed with me. I mean, if I have time, I would love to enter in another contest just for the fun of it. Still, even today, even though I'm working as a professional, I think they're great. They're great fun if you've got a month off and you want to do something different. But I really advise like students that want to get better. It pushes you, and if you don't win straight away, don't give up. You know what I mean? It is like. There is so many artists out there, so it takes time for your skills to get good, and it takes time for your pictures to resonate with people as well, and for your style to kind of connect with people. Yeah, I think that's pretty. I'm really grateful for those communities, honestly. And I also got won a concept art org contest. I got first place for an item design, and I also won a contest with CG Hub as well. So I did enter in a few other forums as well, but yeah, it's not, at the moment I'd love to go back to those student days when you're just doing concept art for fun or for contests. But I mean, I still do it for fun, but right now, when you're working as a professional, you have to take on projects, and to survive, or you have to go to conventions. And it's not that I have to, I love it, I enjoy it. So while you're a student, a lot of students I meet along the way, they're like, oh, it's so hard, I don't know what to do, I don't have any work. But you've got all this freedom. You've got all this freedom to do whatever you want. Make your own comic, or you've got time now to focus on all your art. Get it really good. And I think that's one thing that I'm grateful. I actually took the time to push myself, and before I kind of started, making it a full-time living. So yeah.
Yeah, it's so imperative to do projects and stuff like that. And if you don't have one, just doing something, will help you out, And I even tell I used to tell students to save the ones. Like if you can't get to that one because you're doing another one, save the parameters, because it's a good. Sometimes it's good working in parameters, and then if you don't need to, you'll break away from those things, But it's just a good way to do it. And I used to do stuff like that even after I got a job, because you keep the skills, sharp, when you can do it. So I would save, what the brief was, and when I could do it, I would, try it on a Saturday afternoon that I had time, or see how much I can get done. That's kind of how it happens. For me as an artist, once I get started into something, then I get kind of like, I'm in it, and now it's doing it. The hardest thing is just to start after getting the initial reference and all that stuff together.
Exactly. I mean, I've also grown in the last month. I did the May Sketch a Day challenge, and that's why I'm still sketching today. But what I find is, even now that I've gotten to a level where my images are at a point that I'm kind of happy with, what's happening is like, now I've got this perfectionism, and like I want to perfect everything, and what that does is actually stops you from creating art. So sometimes you just have to get down, start drawing, start painting, even if it's like you're making a mess or it's not making sense. Sometimes just starting on something and not worrying about perfectionism also can lead to a really good image. And if it doesn't, hey, you've lost nothing but time, and you're just practicing. So that's another thing as well. Just don't be a perfectionist. I mean, be a perfectionist to a degree, but don't let that also cripple you. Don't let that cripple your efficiency as well. That's been something that's crippled me in the past too. Is like, oh, now I've won Newman, or now I've made this really awesome painting that's selling well at a con, I have to make everything like that, and then you've got this self-built-up pressure. You have to kind of ignore that and say, screw that, I'm just going to paint. If it comes out, it looks amazing, that's great. If it doesn't, at least I'm still drawing and painting, you know, so...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
The important thing to
And
remember,
Jack, you still do those things also, right? Go ahead, Carlos. Sorry, are you talking? Go ahead. Sorry.
the important thing to remember if you are an upcoming artist
Mm-hmm.
is when you sit in front of an empty canvas, you don't really know which way to go. Whether
Right.
you are using Photoshop or a proper canvas or whatever the case may be, everyone has that problem where you sit in front of your material, whatever it is. You don't know where to go. You don't know if you want to draw something cute, something real. You don't know if you want to go fantasy, if you want to go cartoony. But if you go out and you do some of these competitions, they give you the guidelines and the focus. They give you something to reach for.
Agree.
It helps, and they get not only that, but they give you the guidelines to follow.
Yeah.
Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes the idea of breaking off on your own and just doing something for yourself or something that has no rules sounds exciting, and then you actually get there and it's like really scary because you have absolutely no guidelines and no premise, and like it's almost, it's too much freedom. It's just like you could go any way and it just paralyzes you. So, I mean, there's if you don't want to get involved with something professional where a bunch of eyes are going to be on it and you could be critiqued if you're not that type of person yet, there's all sorts of exercises online that you can, there's suggestion generators. I remember there's one for your app that will like just come up with random ideas and words. I mean, there's the old school one where you can just scribble and doodle and then make something out of that, and then you can refine it. Actually, you guys shared something before the show where they had children draw monsters and then professionals recreated them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that where you can take something that's more abstract and a scribble and then turn that into something. And just having anything on the page or anything to begin with, even if it's a theme or if it's a style, can really like kind of kickstart it. And again, it's just like you guys have been saying. It's like most of it's just practice and getting in the habit of just doing it.
And listen, even if you do come in second or third, or even not at all, if you don't really place, that's fine. If your work is good, number one, the challenge of getting up to a placement level should motivate you enough to get to that point. And even if you don't win, there's still people looking for you. We were talking about this earlier, Anthony, how in today's day and age, it's important to find your audience, right? And how
Exactly.
it is, because we have this conversation on this show all the time. Is technology making art way too attainable? Is it like, are we flooding the internet with all of this work? Well, kind of, yeah, we kind of are, but it's these little competitions that people pay attention to, because it takes, it's kind of the reason why getting a college education or a degree in college separates you from just a normal person. The fact that you have that stick-to-itness, that you have a goal and you reached it, that is huge in some people's eyes. In a lot of people, they don't even care. But the fact that you're able to, you see something, you reach for it, you accomplish it, and you succeed, it helps you become a better person, a better artist.
Mm-hmm.
Helps get you some notoriety and all that stuff. What do you guys think?
Even if you don't win, the thing as well is you're creating a portfolio that could get you an opportunity, a job anyway. So you're actually growing your portfolio. So I've still got paintings that I did in 2011 that I still sell at comic conventions, and they're hit paintings. People still want to buy them. I'll sell maybe 10, 20 of that print at a show. And so, like, it's all helping your career. Even if you can't, even if you don't win, it's not even, like you're saying, it's not about the success. It's also you're creating that portfolio, and there may be someone that just likes your style and gives you an opportunity to work on a book or work on something that gets your career to the next level. So you're right, you get a lot of eyes looking at your stuff, so it does help. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, coming in just fine. Yep.
Sometimes we pause because sometimes we have a tendency to talk over each other, and we do try to be somewhat professional. But
Okay.
yeah. So you're doing concept art now, and you started as a graphic designer. What are some similarities to those jobs?
Similarities. Well, I still use my graphic design skills in, designing my books, designing the comics and presentation at a con. So the graphic designer in me has never really left. So I still have to have that sensibility. But what graphic design does teach you about is design theory, a little bit about, contrast and harmony, all the philosophies that you learn in design school when I studied at university. There's a reason to why certain images draw people in and they have a punch to them. And I think that even if you study design, and we studied design photography when we were doing design, that kind of helped me to become a better painter. So the knowledge about design, why does this look better, or why, this amount of contrast, put your darkest darks with your lightest lights, all that, so all the knowledge that I learned, I just applied when I started painting and drawing. I just made sure that theory was used, so it wasn't lost, And my parents are like, look, at the start they were like, oh, you can't make money out of art, but then now they're seeing that I'm succeeding, and they're like, oh no, stick to it, you're doing well, and they're seeing that, and at first I was very, not resentful, but kind of upset that I didn't get into art sooner. And I said to my folks, you were pushing on the find a stable job kind of position. But at the same time, I thank them for that, because having those skills in graphic design has helped me to design products, like design the card game, make it look really cool, design my comic, and so really it's made me, I feel being a graphic designer has made me a better illustrator in terms of presenting myself online and all that sort of stuff. Look, I should have left sooner from graphic design, but I didn't know, we didn't have the technology. In Australia, we didn't have, concept art wasn't a big thing until about 2008, or illustration wasn't huge until about then. And like when you went to university, all you learnt about was children's book illustration. And I love children's book illustration, but it's not something that pulls me in like video game design or tabletop card games or fantasy. I'm really into video games and films and that. And so finding out in 2008 from Simon that there's an industry, and there's opportunities growing in Australia as well and New Zealand, I was just like, wow, what am I doing with my life, But it kind of helped me to, the skills have helped me. So they still translate. So even if you start off in graphic design, use it as a platform to getting into art, So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
And if you're an up and coming artist and you're drawing and you're making your concept art, right, and you put it out there, and it's not quite as, I'd hate to have people compare their work to other people's work, but we do it as creatives all the time. But
yeah.
If your artwork doesn't pop like someone else's artwork, or doesn't stand out as well as another person's artwork, it's probably because of the layout of your stuff, right? So there's things like, and Jack, you can chime in on this, but there's things like, if your character's a certain color, the background color that helps that character stand out a little more. It's those things, the color theory, that's part of the graphic design. How to place your characters in what orientation and what environment helps your work pop.
Yep, totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think some of that stuff is you just don't pick that up by yourself without some sort of training. And I don't necessarily mean like a school or education, but reading or training from friends or other artists, or researching and inspecting professional art. I mean, because there's a lot of really subtle, even subliminal design rules and all that stuff that you can't really pick up just from practice. You actually have to research and know the knowledge that's already there and well established. And a lot of that stuff, I mean, some of it's cliche, the old rule of thirds or contrasting colors or whatever it is. All of those are there. They sound a little cliche, but so many of them are obviously so tried and true. And design is such an important part of any craftsmanship. I mean, it's especially right now, design is king. I mean, we're moving a little, the design industry it goes in phases. It's like we go back and forth from form over function, and I think right now we're absolutely at because we've been talking about, there is such an overwhelming amount of content and products and availability via the internet. The only ones that stand out are the ones that are also really well designed.
And Charlie, you use a lot of graphic design when you're coming into designing an environment for a game or some of the VR stuff that you're working on, right?
Yeah. Graphic design is a big part of what I do. Just in terms of different design elements in the environment that you do to make things more realistic. And also, since I do a lot of stuff for clients now, it's a little bit different than just making it for a game, or said game company or whatever, because they have to be able to kind of understand and see what you make early on. So I have to do a lot of this is what it's going to look like. A lot of paintings and stuff like that, and a lot of renders. Even though the full environment's not totally done, I have to be able to allow the client to see stuff. So I mean, I love things like Illustrator and Photoshop for those things, and rendering and stuff to kind of bring that out. And it has to be in a nice presentation too. So it's not just the 3D model anymore. It's maybe the whole package and how that works with that company's brand, and it has to be on brand for that company too.
Anthony, you touched on this a little bit earlier. As far as being a concept artist in Australia, do you think the market is improving for concept artists? Or are you guys, are you as a concept artist almost looking towards here the U.S. to pick up some work?
I do illustration as well as concept art, so just to make and obviously writing my comic book, but it goes in ebbs and flows. So 1 year I just had back-to-back projects of film projects and video game projects, and it really depends on the project. Like when I was working for a studio in New Zealand called Grinding Gear Games. We're doing the Path of Exile. I was on that project for a year doing game assets, doing graphics for them, for their players, for all that sort of stuff, concept art. So, the thing is, I think if your quality is there, you're always going to get a lot of work as a concept artist. And if you're out there in an international market, because you're kind of, I run my studio from Adelaide, but I still work with authors in America. I've got a gentleman that I've got booked in for July, August to do a book cover for him. And he actually loved my concept art. So he liked the style that I was doing, the photo kit bashing. He loved that. And he was like, oh, can you do that as a book cover? And I'm like, yeah, why not? And it works really well. So I think the skills you learn in concept art is become this it's like this term or a type of illustration where people think, it's so separate to illustration. But back in the 1950s or 60s, illustrators were known as concept artists. I mean, I've met really old illustrators in Australia here, and they're like, oh yeah, concept art's just part of being an illustrator for them, because they were designing concepts for advertisements. They were designing concepts for products, and back then they were called concept illustrators, and this is going really old school on you guys. So, so for me, it's kind of, they gel together. There's concept art that just gets bashed out really fast. Yeah. But then, and that's sometimes what studios need to get their ideas out straight away. But you know, what's the difference between that and illustration? I think sometimes it's kind of blurred. It can be blurred, you know, and it does get confusing. But that's a whole another debate. So, but yeah, I mean, it is. I suppose in terms of work-wise, I think there's always work. I've got a few game design projects I'm doing now. We're doing a tabletop board game, and so I'm doing environments for that. I'm doing characters, and so I'm doing concept art for the front of the book, and then towards the back of the book, there are these lush illustrations that we're doing for this game project in Melbourne. So I think there's plenty of work if you've in the industry for a while. If you're, you know, you keep on your toes, you're always going to find some opportunities. So, yeah, I'm not really doing anything else but that. So, so I'm pretty lucky. So.
Some of the film projects and some of the video game projects that you've worked on.
What have I worked on? So I can't hear you. It's breaking up.
Yeah. Sorry. You've said that you've worked on some games and some movies. What are some of the movie projects that you've worked on?
Yeah, so I've done. Have you guys heard of an Australian horror film called Wolf Creek? Ever heard of Wolf Creek?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so with Wolf Creek Productions. They have a production house, and they basically commissioned me to do a lot of concept art for two or three of their films that were coming up. The film hasn't come out yet, so I can't talk too much about it. But one of the films is called Territorial. You'll see some of the concept art in my portfolio on my website. So it's a horror film. It's an Australian horror film set in colonial Australia, and it's about the bunyip. It's about this a monster in indigenous mythology here. It's I suppose, a swamp monster, and it has the power to kind of take over your soul and do some horrible stuff. And I've also worked on a film called Artifice, which is out, a short film. And yeah, and there was another film, a horror film that I worked in Adelaide called, oh my God, I can't even remember the name. I'm sorry, I've worked on like too many movies now. I've got to find it.
Problem to have.
Yeah, because all the game projects and the film projects have all kind of tied together in my mind. But yeah, it was an Adelaide film project, but it's going to become a feature. I don't know when, but that was a year or so ago that I did the art for. I'll just have a look in my portfolio, and I'll pull it out if I can find it. But yeah, they're the films that I've worked on, just mainly horror films. For some reason, I get picked up for horror films, and I don't know why. So maybe because I have Lovecraft's birthday. I don't know. He's born on the 20th of August. I'm born on the 20th of August. So maybe there's something in the stars there with horror. I don't know. So yeah.
Do you guys find that there's an overlap in fantasy and horror?
I think that may be why. Yeah.
Or maybe it's starting to be more apparent now. I used to didn't think the reason why that would overlap more, but I guess now I see that a lot more. You know, I mean, you see stuff like Game of Thrones and stuff like that. You know, in some shots I'm like, this feels like a horror film. You know. And the way it's written, they're coming, it's so I think people are seeing more parallels between the two.
Hold the door.
Yeah.
Hold the door.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Oh, no.
Spoilers.
We've become spoilers now, have we?
Yeah.
Just kidding. I've seen it.
They have no idea what we're talking about. The audience has no idea what we're talking about.
No.
If you haven't seen it yet, go watch the latest Iron Man movie. You'll know what we're talking about.
Nice.
That's funny. Yeah. So any questions, or would you like me to ask questions? Ask a question.
No. I thought you were gonna pull up some stuff.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the film stuff. I'll just be 1 second. You guys can keep on talking. I'll let you know if I find it.
Talk amongst yourselves. We need elevator music.
Doing that. I was going to point out some of the companies that you've worked for: Disney, 5D Agents, Wolf Creek Productions, Grinding Gear Games, Clemenger, BBDO, kind of a big deal, and then KWP. So yeah, kids seen some things.
Done some things.
I'll share the picture with you one second. So the film is called Awoken, and I'll just wait 1 second. I'll just be 1 second. I've got to figure out this screen share thing. Start screen share. So yeah, the film is called Awoken. I can't talk too much about it, but that's the poster that I did the illustration. It was also I did a whole bunch of concept art for as well. Yeah. So they played God and woke the devil. So
What happened?
but,
what happens next?
Yeah. What happens next, exactly. And this is the stuff I did for Territorial as well, all the concept art for them. And these concepts were kind of like a little bit of photo kit bashing, painting, all that sort of stuff. I'll try and zoom in on it. So what happened was when the director talked to me, he said, "Oh look, we need this guy to look a mixture of Guy Pearce and Chris Hemsworth." So sometimes I had to kind of like bash two actors together. I used like 10 or 20 photos and then created this concept art, and this had to get done in a day, or a day and a half. I had 1 day to get it done. He approved it, and then I had a half a day to kind of detail it and clean it up and make sure there was nothing wrong with the concept art or it looked all right.
At what point do you get pissed off when people say, "We need you to paint this in 1 day"?
I think.
Or do you get that?
Like, it just depends. Sorry?
I said, or do you even get that? Are you able to mitigate that kind of?
I do get that. Yeah, I do get that. And I don't really get pissed off because I've kind of got to the speed where I do that. It just depends on what they want in that day. If it's like an epic environment, for me, if it was like an environment filled with characters in it, it would be really hard to push that out in a day if it was really, really detailed. And it depends if they're allowing me to use photo plates or if they've done research for the project. If I'm sitting there and I have to spend half a day researching and figuring out, references or finding things that are going to help the picture speed up, then that does get a bit annoying. So I really like to work with directors. Like this director had his research down pat. So the reason why we got this job done faster was because he had all these references. He goes, "Look, I've got costumes of the actors. I've got photo reference. I've got a library here. You do what you want." And I showed him. I had a collection of photos of the Australian forests and the Australian outback, and I said, "Look, this is what I've done on my photo shoots. Pick the ones that you think are suitable for it, and I'll put something together." And so it's really dependent on the client and the project. And then there's some clients that'll be like, "Hey, just do what you want," or they say, "Look, just paint a landscape of something oceanic, but do what you want." And so that can get a bit annoying because you're like, "Well, what do you really want?" It's like,
sometimes those are the best.
They can be, yeah. Sometimes, yeah, they can be. But if they're too vague and they don't know what they want, then that can get a bit annoying. So yeah.
Yeah, because now you're drawing 50 versions, and they're like, "That looks cool, but it's not really what I want."
Those famous words. "I don't know what I want. I know what I don't want."
And I know what I want when I see it.
Yeah, I'll know when I see it.
Yeah. I know it when I see it.
That's exactly right. So yeah, you've got guys gone through that. I'll stop screen sharing. So
okay. That was some. We're looking at some artwork that I don't know if you have on your website. I was clicking.
Yeah, it's all on my website.
Oh, okay.
So gotta dig deeper.
Go to my website. Just go to all images. If you go to all images on my website, you'll be able to see everything in the gallery.
Yeah, Carlos.
So it's all good. It's not
use the internet correctly.
Yeah, it could be poor graphic design on my behalf.
Oh, yeah. Here you go. I have this client that got an email from, let's just say, U.S. Bank.
Okay.
Oh no.
And it was a cease and desist.
Uh-oh.
because apparently we had the U.S. Bank logo on one of the pages of her website. And she said, Carlos, what does this mean? And I said, ignore it. You don't have a website.
Oh.
Oh my God.
So she went ahead and wrote and said, hey, I'm not exactly sure what you mean. I don't think I'm infringing, but if I am, it's totally unintentional, not really like this whole long thing. And then
she's confused.
And then the guy went on to explain to her that there's a thing called a website, and then within that website you have these web pages. And was describing to her how to use the internet. And then she took that message and sent it to me and was like, what do I do? And I said, he's telling you how to use the internet. He's telling you how to go through this website for a site that doesn't exist. She doesn't have a website. How could she possibly be ceasing and desisting on something that doesn't exist? Anyway, that's my.
So how long did that take for you to get people to on the right page?
That happened just this morning. Well.
Oh. Oh, okay.
The original email was probably like a week or two ago, and then I completely forgot about it because I asked her, just forget about it. It's spam. This guy is messing with you. How could you possibly be doing anything wrong when that thing that they're telling you you're doing wrong doesn't exist?
Everyone is stupid except
for beating your wife and you're not even married. You're not even dating, right? So it's impossible to happen. So why are you writing to this guy? And then we'll find.
Did he ask for money yet?
We'll find out. You know what I'm going to do is when I'm done with the website, I'm going to put a U.S. Bank logo on it. I don't know if it's, but it is something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, sweet baby Jesus, please just leave it be.
Awesome.
That's my story time. I'm grumpy.
A little salty. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
While you're showing us, Anthony, your dragons, can you describe your art process to us? How do you get to that right there? And if you're listening on iTunes, he's got this dragon with battered wings and like
clouds.
The ribs have like lightning and all kinds of really cool stuff. Describe how, like, from initial inception in your brain, does this exist in your brain and it just spills out onto the paper, or do you just start doodling and then this is kind of what shows up?
Yeah, it is a bit of doodling, but I have this vision in my head. Like, what happened was, it was actually, I wanted to create the son of the Dark Dragon in my comic, and it's this guy. He's Zerolius the Bone Dragon, Zerolios. Ooh. And Zerolius the Bone Dragon. It wasn't scary enough.
What dragon?
His name is...
I'll stop. You can show your Bone Dragon.
Oh God.
Anthony, we can't take Carlos anywhere.
We can't. No.
We can't. And I don't even know if Jack executive produced that sound in the background, but I'm just gonna assume he did.
No.
That
was completely not me.
It wasn't? You sure? I think it was. I reckon it's Jack getting me back for calling him my dad or something. So.
Ooh, that was a different variation.
That was different. What is that one?
That was like had some extra bass in it.
That's the same one, but with bad internet.
Oh.
Oh man, you need to figure out how to record that one. I thought you were holding out on us all these weeks.
No, for real. I'll stop. Anthony, talk to us about how you get to.
That better? That better sound or what?
You sound to the
Right?
Ooh.
Can you hear it?
Do you have dragon sounds just on cue?
No, I don't. I don't.
T-Rex. Nice.
I may. I don't know.
Anthony,
I'll,
you're amazing.
thanks.
I need to
So
step
are
my
you,
sound game up. I don't have any sounds here. Everyone's guests are coming on with better sounds than me. Okay.
Why don't
Okay.
you look like a tree and get out of here?
Fine.
Go for it. Tell us about your process.
Okay, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to find the picture because I've actually got a step-by-step process so you can actually we can go through and I'll show you. How about that? Does that sound cool?
Oh, we're about to do some behind-the-scenes stuff.
Do that.
Behind the
Get
scenes.
out of town. I didn't know you did anything creative.
What the hell?
Oh, I love it.
You're going overboard.
Yo, resident sound guy said it's too much. Dial it back.
Alright, you ready?
Yeah, let's see. You want to share your screen?
Yeah,
Alright,
so
sweet.
I'm sharing it. Can you see something? There we go.
Yeah, perfect.
So it literally starts out as doodles like this really bad drawing. Some of this were done. I did this with my iPad Pro, like while I was in Melbourne at a con, and that was the start of the Bone Dragon. I was just concepting out different sketches, and this is another one. These are like 2-minute sketches, coming up with an idea. So I know in my head what I want, and it's also I did the Bone Dragon because my fan from the comic book, the guy who pledged a lot on Kickstarter, he said to me, "Hey, I want you to finally draw the Bone Dragon and do it for me." So he commissioned it, and so I already knew what I wanted in my head. I had a brief from him, which made it easier. And so these are all the sketches. There was about 4 or 5 sketches, and then I finally did this sketch here, which was the first Bone Dragon. I thought, okay, yeah, I really like this, and went from there. And the process is I draw on my iPad Pro, or I sketch it out with pens and pencils, right? Once I've got a good rough sketch done and I pick the design, I then start painting it process step by step. And I'll just show you the step-by-steps because people think, oh, did you just get a photo or something? But it's not. So I'm just seeing if that's actually another version of the Bone Dragon. So I was just playing around with it. Oh god, not that sound again.
That would be fun.
Get like a dragon roar or something, man. Like. I don't know.
Oh,
So
so you
this
just
is me.
so you do black and
This is
white
a-
first, and then you just keep building up then
Yeah.
off of that, and add color
Yeah.
then. Okay.
Building up atmosphere, then building up color, then and playing around with the layout. But I really want to make sure that the design is solid, so that way when I'm painting, that's it. So when I basically make sure the pencil is solid, so that way the painting process is easier. So I've penciled out everything, like you saw. I did
Right.
about 6 or 7 sketches, and then I got to by the 6th or the 7th drawing, I was then able to start painting it, and you can see it just builds up, building it up, building it up. There we go. It's getting there.
So you're talking about bringing on even more colorists and whatnot. Have you thought about how? And I'm assuming you've had colorists help you here and there, even though you solely do most of all the artwork. How do you keep the look and feel of the comic book consistent? Because since you seem like you're just building layers up, and everybody's going to paint or build those layers up just a little bit differently, or do you have to then be a finishing artist on top of that so that you keep it consistent?
Sometimes I do find I am doing that, yes. But like, I'm really lucky that some of the people that work for me, I've kind of been the junior artists, Christy and Rob. Well, Rob, I kind of learned from Rob, So we've got a similar style. So we kind of mesh together our styles. So that way, anyone that's working for me, they kind of grow in this style and they learn to adopt the style. And I'm a really easygoing, chill director. As long as it doesn't look too far from what we've got, I'm not going to be like, oh, it doesn't look exactly like my dragon, so you're fired. I'm not like that. I'm kind of like, look, if it's close to what our style and the vision, I'm quite happy to have artists help on it. So you see, it does kind of, in the comic book itself, you may see some kind of slight style adjustments or changes, but I like that. I like that it kind of gets broken up. Like we've got in issue 2. In issue 2, we have a character called Leon Taros. He's a lion guy. I'll see if I can find a picture of him. And so I'm not letting anyone touch those pages, the 5 pages of him, and so they're going to look really, really different. I'll just pull it out.
NG.
And so this is Leo. That's the concept art for Leo.
That's the concept?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and then I've got I'm doing the next 4 pages. He appears because he's fighting the nightmare mages. He accidentally stumbles into a nightmare zone where all the nightmares are happening, and he sees these evil mages trying to sacrifice a dragon to drain its dream energy out of it. And I don't want to say what happens, but yeah, he does something badass. So yeah, he saves the day, kind of thing. So
yeah. So rough time frame then, based on, because like I've always been like a fan of when I go to cons and stuff like that, I see a lot of artists that has similar style to what you're doing, or I've had buddies that play D&D, and like the whole lore books and all that good stuff where it's really detailed work. Like how long does it take you to complete one book? Because I'm seeing like even in the concept here for the dragon, you have a painterly style where it's like individual hairs that need to be painted and highlights need to be applied and whatnot. So when having to draw him a bunch of different times, are you cutting corners in certain aspects, or how long is it taking you to complete said pages and stuff?
Yeah, pages do take a while. Like I could probably be spending 2 to 3 days on a page. I don't know if that's a long time. Is that a long time? So you tell me. But I'll just try and find like the next issue. This is what one of the pages looks like. So this is Arcturus, and he's in the council chambers talking to the council about the evil mages, what's happening and stuff in the city of Atalantian. And I'll show you the next page. So yeah, like at the moment it's taking me about 6 months per issue. So that's why I'm doing 2 issues a month. But having another artist on board, we'll be able to get 3 or maybe 4 issues out per year. So
yeah.
And since you're also the writer, like how long does it take you to develop a story? Because these seem like pretty complex like stories and plots. You say like roughly 3 days per page, but like what about the writing?
Yeah, well, I've been working on this. This has been a baby project for the last 5 years. So there's been a lot of concept art behind the scenes, developing the world. And not just that, I've been writing this story since 2012, since I set up my studio. I've just thought, well, I'm going to write a story while I do the client work. Like I'll just, like on the weekend, I might spend like 3 hours just writing a story. We've written 3 seasons of the comic, so this could be pitched as a television series. So we've written 3 seasons of the comic book in dot point, but the first season has mainly been written out, and so we've like all of the story has already been, most of it has been written. So everyone's guaranteed to get the comic, but it's just the rate at which it comes out now is based on art and how much art I can make, and I have Patreon, which is amazing. Patreon is like a Kickstarter, but a monthly Kickstarter. And so we've reached about $600, or about, I think it's about $560 or something like that US, and that helps. So I now know, okay, I've got to dedicate about a week to Luminous Ages, or about just under a week. And so the more funding I get on Patreon, as the fan base grows and people like to read the comic, You know, even $1 helps. If we get another 1,000 people supporting the comic at $1, I can then dedicate more time to getting more art made, hiring Christy, hiring Rob in the future, and definitely I've got the team there. It's just the thing that's it's not holding me back, but it's just timing, you know, finding enough time to do it, and time is money, as they say. So yeah. But that's another page. I mean, yeah, they're roughly about 2 to 3 days to do a page. They are it's a painterly style. That's what I really like, painterly kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it
And
reminds
that's
me
the way
of the old school Magic the Gathering cards and stuff like that, and the D&D stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great.
Definitely a big influence to me. So.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that.
Anthony.
I'm back. Yeah.
Anthony Christou.
Yeah.
This or that? Would you rather write a comic book, or illustrate a comic book?
Ooh.
Can I choose both?
No.
No, Anthony. No, you cannot
Oh my
choose
God.
both.
We're not gonna, like, if you pick one, we're not gonna force you to not do the other one. You can do the other one. That's fine.
We'll see. Like, you know, I'd probably go painting still. Yeah, I'd still go painting, painting and drawing. Yeah.
That's what you were gonna say. You know, if you could only do one and focus, on that one, yeah, interesting.
And I'd make it so I'd do it so that it wouldn't even need words.
Ooh.
Ooh. Calm down, Anthony.
Cut it out.
Wow. We just went 90s. Nice, Joey Gladstone.
All right. Anthony, this or that? Vegemite?
Don't.
Vegemite.
No, you had to go there. You just had to go there.
Focus. Vegemite or VeggieTales?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something else.
What the hell is VeggieTales? I don't even know what that is.
What did you guys have VeggieTales out there, don't you?
No, I've never had it before. What is it?
Probably not.
It's a Christian cartoon, but all the characters are vegetables.
Do a quick Google search.
Yeah,
VeggieTales. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Vegemite, man. Vegemite. I'm Aussie. So.
I thought you were going to say...
I was like, where are we going?
No. I thought you were going to make a stupid joke and say Vegemite or Vegemate.
Vegenaise? What the hell? Is that a new one?
Vegemate.
Or no. Vegemite or Veggie Whale.
Everyone is stupid except me.
We thought Carlos was gonna make another one of his.
How about Save the Whales? How about Save the Whales? Can we do that instead?
Save the Whales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys?
You can save the whales.
Yeah, is that all right?
I saw your Patreon. You have enough to save the whales.
Mm-hmm. Next.
All right. I thought, hey Jack, I thought you were gonna stop me because right when your reaction, I was like, I'm not. What is he? I was gonna, and then I was like, well, it probably would have been something like Vegemite or a fart in your mouth.
No, guys, you're doing the Vegemite wrong. Okay, you're doing it wrong. What you have to do is you got to put margarine or butter first, right? Or Nutella, whatever you use, right? And then you only have like a little bit of Vegemite, like that much, and you just spread a little bit on top because it's a really salty thing. So you don't want to like overpower your bread with Vegemite, because like what I found is like a lot of my friends from overseas, from Europe and America that have come to stay with me, or they get the Vegemite out and they're like just slapping it on, like thick paste. You're not meant to eat Vegemite like that. It's meant to be thinly spread on the bread. So that rhymed just then. So.
Okay.
Gotta be smooth. Gotta be smooth.
All right. Since you're from Australia, isn't it mostly bush out there, right?
Actually, yeah. Where I'm from, there's a reserve. There's actually a gum trees and a reserve and wallabies and all that behind my house, within 2-minute walk.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Wallaby. All right. So since you live in Australia, would you rather one in the hand or two in the bush?
What? Is this G-rated or what?
Haven't you?
I don't know what. I don't know what that means. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an old saying out there where, when you're reaching too far, would you rather have a bird in the hand or two in the bush? If you have a guaranteed thing,
This is so good.
or do you give up that one thing to try to get more, which would be two birds in the bush? It's
I don't know. I don't know what it applies to, so it depends on the life circumstance. So is that a good answer? It depends. Yeah.
all right.
Yo, this is the best. This or that. Ever. Carlos, your question is awesome. Let's keep them going. Let's go. Next.
All right. Hey, Anthony, would you rather have Pete's Dragon or Puff the Magic Dragon?
I'd rather have Zerolius the Magic Dragon. No, I don't know, man.
I think maybe one of those guys is based off of the one that you just said. I think it might be Puff.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's go Puff the Magic Dragon.
Boom.
Let's go Puff.
Hey, I have a random question now that we're down this road. If
What are we doing?
you guys had a pet dragon, what would you name it?
Yeah.
No sound. No dragon effects.
Like, would you guys have like, hey, this is my pet dragon Spot, or would you guys name it something like Sophocles or something?
Sophocles.
Oh,
Okay.
that is random.
I was just wondering.
I know. Like
I would probably name it something stupid.
Mr. Bigglesworth.
Yeah, exactly.
Puddles.
Mr. Biggles. Big old dragon named Mr. Biggles.
The police come to your house and be like, your dragon just burnt 3 houses. You're like, oh, Mr. Cuddles.
He gets indigestion after dinner.
Yeah.
We'll move on. You guys are being difficult. How about, if you had a pet dragon, so think about this, because you guys, you know how people have like pet cats and pet dogs, and you have an inside cat or an outside cat, right? Would your dragon, if you had a pet dragon, would you would you let the dragon be an inside dragon, or would you force him outside and be an outside?
It depends if the dragon is a herbivore or a carnivore.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Because like in my comic, there's dragons that are carnivorous and there's dragons that are herbivorous, like the dinosaurs. Some of the dinosaurs were herbivorous, only ate plants like brontosauruses and all that. So if he's herbivorous, then he's welcome to sit inside with me and eat some dinner, Just serve him lots of vegetables, Be like a vegan dragon, So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
He's like a hipster dragon that's like couch surfing. It's okay.
Yeah, that's
He'd be more indoor, right? He'd be more indoor dragon at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas
Exactly. Yeah, and you'd want the carnivorous dragon to be sitting outside guarding your house, you know, in case like there was a zombie apocalypse or something, you know, it could just chew all the zombies to bits, you know.
Yeah.
So
He'd like be friends with the carnivorous dragon, but then always talk about how the carnivorous dragon needs to break out of his like shell and be more than what he is and get his health together because it's got high blood pressure from all the meat. So it'd be cool, you know. He wears like a plaid shirt and like a really cool sloppy hat, you know, or something.
awesome. But
we should build on this story.
It's funny because in my comic there is that environmental message. So there are these evil dragons and the mages doing this bad thing to their world, and the good guys, some of them are vegans, and some of them, the dragons, like the green dragon, he's made of trees. He can grow trees out of his body and stuff, and he mainly eats plants and stuff like that. So yeah, there is that aspect to it. Like I said, it's like James Cameron's Avatar, where you know you've got this environmental kind of message in with a story, and so yeah, these kind of funny things could happen in the story, and that's what I'm really excited about. Leo himself, he comes from basically a pride of lions, and his whole family eat meat, but he decides to abstain from eating meat. And he goes into he becomes a vegan lion, but he decides that he does need protein and iron, so he goes and eats a special kind of clamfish, so something that doesn't have a brain or a nervous system, and so he doesn't feel so guilty about eating this kind of seafood.
Yo,
so, yeah.
wait a minute. Yo,
Crazy ass. What?
No, this is your comic for real.
It is my comic for real, man. Yeah. This is stuff that happens in the future episodes, man. So yeah. Is that bad or good?
No, that's amazing. It's like amazing.
My last one. Actually, no, I needed to get this off my chest because if I had a pet dragon, it would be an inside dragon, and the reason would be because how cool would it be to be inside watching TV and then you have a bag of marshmallows and you could just have your dragon toast them perfectly?
You would have You'd have all type of weird burnt marks on your walls.
Oh, that's right.
You have your house.
Instead of a full-on like fiery death breath, right?
He just kind of breathe on it, you know.
It's like when he's sleeping and snoring, just like.
Jack, his whole house is constantly hot. just a cool 98 degrees.
My dragon would be all.
It depends how big it is, because like if it's like a huge dragon, he could actually burrow under the house, right? Listen to this: burrow under the house, keep your house warm in the winter, and then occasionally like you have like a little hole in the ground, and he can just shoot up flames out of the hole, like a little grill, and you can grill all your food and stuff.
Hooked up to the fireplace. Is that how the real estate market in your comic book works? They're like, and this one comes with a dragon. And
yeah, exactly right. That's exactly right. You hit the nail on the head.
He's vegan, so he all cares about the environment. Go ahead, Carlos.
Radiating dragon heat.
Natural radiating dragon heat.
We took the radiators out. We took the radiators out and we installed the dragon.
Awesome.
All right, my last one.
Got another one?
Last one. These have been long, but I only had about 5 or 6. All right. Khaleesi, Daenerys Targaryen, or Mulan?
I don't know. How about my character instead?
Oh. How dare you?
Good answer.
Which one though?
Yeah, it depends. You got to pull her up. If she's cuter than Khaleesi, then it's game on.
All right, I'll bring out Lena of the Light. She summons a nature dragon. Wait a second. You tell me. You like Khaleesi? Wait, I just got to find it. Sorry, I've got too many photos.
While he's pulling that up, I just want to poke one hole in your theory. I've thoroughly enjoyed Carlos this or that this evening, but one thing I want to say is usually the whole inside-outside pet usually is for cats, and not equate for dogs. And I didn't think you were a cat person, so I'm gonna assume Lucy's not in the room right now. She'd probably be mad at you. You just kind of pacified the whole nature of a dragon being an inside dragon or an outside dragon. Cause we don't correspond to cats here on the Sketch Zone. We're dog people.
I was trying to teach.
I'm a dog person as well. I love dogs. They're great.
I have a couple in my comic book. No.
Do you?
No, I was trying to teach Lucy how to do the whole marshmallow thing, but she kept eating it off the stick.
Oh, there we go. He has it up.
Here we go. Let's see.
That's Lena of the Light.
He's yeah.
Can you zoom in?
Yeah. How far do you want me to go?
He's holding it down. He's no Khalid.
She's dark hair. She's dark. She's black.
Yeah, brunette.
Brunette, yeah, dark head. She's kind of Italian looking, Spanish, kind of that kind of look.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Good answer, Charlie. Hi, Monica.
Future reference. You're learning, Carlos. little tidbits. Drop a little things here and there. I'm sure she'll be listening to this tomorrow.
So good. So that, my friends.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that.
There you have it. That's this or that. I wanted to talk to Anthony about his. He keeps talking about going to these Comic-Cons and stuff like that. What's your experience been like at these Comic-Cons?
It's been brilliant. I love it. I've been very, I suppose, fortunate, lucky. I think that what I did as an artist is I was focusing on doing client work first and getting better, like from 2008 to about 2012, so 4 years, and I had finally got some industry work in 2011 and 12. But then by about 2013, I was still getting projects, but I was just finding that it wasn't enough to survive. Like I was making a decent income, but it wasn't what I wanted. A bit more money, so to speak, and I wanted to get out there more, and I was getting sick of being inside all the time. And I love it, but sometimes you need a bit of a balance. So I kind of got off my arse and did my first comic convention in Adelaide in 2013.
Which one was that?
2013. It was Supernova in Adelaide, and guess who was there? You're not going to believe who was there.
Who was there?
George R.R. Martin.
Wow.
So
really?
I swear to God, I met him. He saw my artwork, and he basically said to me, "Keep it up, because your work's really good." And I was just like this, and I was just like, "What? Did I just meet R.R. Martin?" And it was just the most amazing experience for me because people were buying my work. Online, it's very hard, like you're saying before, it's very hard online to make money out of art, and it's just so saturated with, like, selling artwork online is so hard. But people actually want to meet the artists at the Comic Cons, and they want to actually tangibly touch your products and have a look at your wares, so to speak. And from there, it just grew and grew and grew. And yeah, it's just been amazing. I'm now a guest with Oz Comic Con in Australia. So this year I've been invited as a guest and sign these huge backdrops because they found out that I did concept art and matte painting. And they just asked me, "Hey, look, are you interested in? We'll pay you for these backdrops and becoming a guest at our show." And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And I'll try and find them for you. But so I've done these cosplay backgrounds where cosplayers stand in front of them and pose in front of my artwork, which is really a great honor, and I'm really grateful that that happened with Oz Comic Con. And yeah, it's just that I think since 2013 I've been doing shows, about 10 shows a year, and I love it because it gets me out there meeting people. I've got fans that come back and always say hi, and got meet some amazing people, other artists, you make friends, and yeah, it's, I don't know, I mean, that's pretty much it. So it's helped my business a lot, so can't complain.
Give me your wackiest Comic-Con story.
Oh my god, okay, I'll show you the picture I did for the background I did for Oz Comic Con, and this actually literally happened in Adelaide, from where I'm from. So we get some interesting characters in Adelaide. Can you see this painting? This matte painting?
Yeah, oh, wow, cool. Yeah.
So as you can see, it's got the Oz Comic Con logo there, and cosplayers would stand out in front of that. And as you know, like with my artwork, or as you've seen now, there's some demonic topics or some horror kind of topics, and that's just because I've been asked to do that from studios, from horror studios, and so like I've got a lot of scary artwork. And this lady comes up to me and she literally said to me, "I'm an exorcist."
Uh-oh.
And she goes, yeah, I've looked at your artwork. And I think you might be possessed.
Yes. I believe.
And I just was
believe it.
Yeah. And I just said, look, excuse me, but I believe. I'm telling you now, I'm not. You know, I'm somewhat of a spiritual person. I said I don't want to get into that here, but I just said I'm not. These artworks were done for clients and for projects. Some of them aren't actually any expression of my soul or my identity or an emotion or that I'm feeling. They're an expression, but they're usually what a client or someone will ask me to paint. So, and then she's like, oh, okay, but if you do need help, come and call me, you know. And she gave me her card and everything, and I was like,
yeah, the con has a collective group of people. That's so, only at a con when you meet an exorcist.
An exorcist, yes, yeah. It was quite funny. I had a friend with me at the time, and he just looked at me, and as she looked away, he just looked at me. And he rolled his eyes, literally like rolled his eyes, and goes, and he whispers to me, "Should I roll my eyes backwards and keep them like that?" Don't do that, man. You're gonna start something here, you know. We got to sell some art, you know. So, yeah.
Your friend could be a jerk and just like, "Have a nice day." Freak her out. No, only at a con, man. It's so like. If you're out there, you haven't been to one of these comic book conventions or, you know, movie convention cons or whatever, go to a con in your life. You know, like you have to. They're some of the most passionate people you ever meet, and it's all walks of life, right? Right, Carlos?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's people that will call you out on some of the weirdest stuff. So you need to be a big fan of the comic book or whatever, the comics industry, and also a mechanic, and also good at whatever and whatever, because if you think that you're going to get away with talking, oh yeah, I really like that book and all this other stuff, oh yeah, because the spaceship works off of, you know, unleaded, they will call you out on that. No, sir, it's not unleaded. Those spaceships, because of the flux capacitors, you obviously need to use Crisco or whatever the hell it is that these kids are passionate and will call you out on some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like the cosplay, that whole phenomenon is you know, really grown over the years. I mean, we had it when I was in college and stuff like that, but now it's to the point where I love the production level. So like C2E2 in Chicago, which is the same company that puts on the San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con, they really play it up and do the murals like Anthony's been showing us, where you can come and stand in front of stuff and people will take stuff. I've seen like, you know, 10-foot like robots, being controlled by remote control that some dude made by himself with his father by hand, or like big huge like T-Rexes that are huge to actually roar. Walk. It's cool. Like I can't wait till my little girl gets a little bigger, and I can take her to those. They'll eat that stuff up, or all the characters that people do,
Yeah.
All
So
right.
here's another one of the backgrounds that I did as well. So that'll be in Melbourne in 2 weeks' time. So this will be there for cosplays to showcase their work. So yeah, can you see that? Can you all see that?
Yes, looks great. Yeah.
And there's another one. We did a superhero city. So imagine the whole idea was imagine if the Flash could like go to every city at once. So it's kind of like we've got Sydney here, we've got Tokyo, we've got Paris, Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, there you go.
Well played.
Can you guys hear me okay? Because there's a storm outside. Can you guys hear me okay or not?
Yeah. No, you're good.
You've been fine, yeah.
'Cause there's like this huge storm going on outside. So yeah, must be the dragon outside.
Awesome. Yeah, I like how you did that. Those are cool. So the little you'll be standing on the ledge of the building. That's with some cool pictures, I bet.
Dragon.
Off the dragon, man.
Wow. You better go feed your indoor dragon.
Yeah, right. All right, one last question for you, Anthony.
Yeah.
I know that you have your own thing working, and everything seems to be going really well for you. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
But is there one studio out there, or even a couple studios out there that you would pretty much do anything to work for?
For me, I really love what I'm doing at the moment, and I love the freedom of being a full-time freelancer and working on my own intellectual property. But if something came up and Wizards of the Coast said to me, "Hey, we're doing a project," I'd probably do it for a year, and that's probably pretty much it. Them or Weta Workshop. Funnily enough, next weekend I'm going to Wellington. So, and I know some guys down at Weta already, and girls. So I know a few people down there. But if something amazing happened and they offered me a great opportunity, then yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. But I think it would be more on a freelance basis. I think the great opportunity would be if I got into Wizards of the Coast doing Magic the Gathering artwork. That would be a great opportunity. But I'm not getting my hopes up because there's just so much talent out there, and there are artists that are just so much better. And I'm not saying that I'm not to put myself down, but there are just some artists that have been doing this for so longer than me, and I'm patient with it. I'm happy to be on my journey and create my own stories. And if I eventually get the opportunity to work on some Magic card art, that would be great. I'd love to do that. And the third one would be Blizzard. If Blizzard offered me something, yeah, for sure. So, but I'm quite happy as I am. So.
Very cool. Well. That's right. It's about time to give away this sketch wallet. We have been holding a contest of sorts where if you are on Instagram or Twitter, all you had to do was draw a picture and post it to the social networks out there, and you'd be included in this drawing. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5 folks that are in this, right? So we have Tino's Drawings, Dave Atsy, Artistry of Wally, Artistry of Wally, and Jonathan Price, right? So what I'm going to do is shuffle these up, right? So no one knows what they are. I'm going to go ahead and put, that's going to be number 1, that's going to be number 2, That's going to be number 3. That's going to be number 4. And that's going to be number 5. Anthony, pick a number between 1 and 5.
3.
Jonathan Price. You are the proud winner of this Sketch Wallet. It comes with sketching wallet. Comes with a pencil. A bookmark, I think it is. A little business card action. And this big sticker. That's a sticker. You get a little sticker. Yeah. Jonathan Price, I will be reaching out to you, my friend, because you won this sketch wallet.
Congrats, Jonathan.
Congratulations.
Now go draw something. Fill it up. Fill it up.
I get these things off my computer. I get all excited and stuff, and I don't think things all the way through. Now I got sticky stuff on my computer. So yeah, that's it. Anthony, thank you, sir, for the show. If people are looking for you and your work and your comic book and all that good stuff, where can they find you?
Okay, cool. First I'll show you the dragon, and I got it to this point. So it's not finished yet, but that's. Can you see that?
Wow. Yeah, nice.
So yeah, I've got to tidy that one up and with some inks and that. But if you want to find me and get my artwork, you can go to patreon.com/Anthony Christou. Also, I have Luminous Ages, which is www.luminousages.com, where you can get the comic. You can read it there for free, and you can also find the Patreon link through that. And of course, my website, A Christou Illustration. So the links are on my page. So Carlos, you put them up there, haven't you, on the page?
Yes,
sir.
Beautiful.
That's what we do, son.
Nice.
All right. Well, thanks again, and again, congratulations on the Patreon, on the Kickstarter, on the book, just everything. It's well deserved, sir.
Yeah, man, it's really good, man.
Very good.
Thank you. I'll send you guys a copy. So email me your address, and I'll be sure to send you guys a copy of the book, the comic, and the art book as well. So I'll give you both this, give you all this. Sorry, should I say? So you get the comic, and that's the art book from the Kickstarter. It is. Sorry about the backwards view, but it's got all the artwork in there and all the niceties.
Wow.
We can thank you. Yeah, we can also do more giveaways too.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is. Awesome.
And thank you very much for having me on the show. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Very well.
Thanks for coming on.
And Charlie, if people are looking for you, where can they find you?
So you can find me at my website, which is cargocollective.com/CharlieBWilliams. I'm on Twitter at CBW3, Facebook CharlieBW3, Pinterest CharlieBW3. Check it out. Change your life. And
Jack Kasperzak.
If you're looking for me, I'm at sketchbookjack.com and sketchbookjack, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, all that stuff.
Excellent, thank you, sure. And I am Carlos Gomez. You can find me at carlosrgomez.com. And if you're out there on the internet, just look for Coconut Justice. I'll be there.
Really?
No.
I'll be there. All right. You could also find us at sketch.zone. You can suggest a guest if you go to sketch.zone/guest. You can also find us on Twitter at sketchzone. You can go to facebook.com/thesketchzone. You can go to youtube.com/sketchzonepodcast. And of course, you can find us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes. We've been doing this cool little thing where if you leave us a review on iTunes, we will read it on the show.
Please leave us a review.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
Let's talk about it.
It really helps us if you took like literally 10 seconds out of your day to write a nice little review on there, and it helps bump us up in the iTunes, whatever it is, their standings, and then it helps people find us. And if people can find us, then they might be interested in coming on, because that's how we got people like Anthony on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh wow, hi guys. Hi guys, can I come on the show? And we're like, of course, you make it. That's how it works, folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spread the love.
Exactly.
Have a good week, y'all.
See you, everybody.
See ya.